Hi everyone and welcome to another episode of STEM in Seconds. As you can see, today I'm going to teach you how to rationalise the denominator when a surd is in a fraction. Some of you will have seen my earlier video on surds, what they are and how we use them. So today I'm going to talk about the final, most common place in which you see a surd, which is the denominator of a fraction. We're going to start with a simple one, such as 1 over the square root of 3. If there is a surd in the denominator, it makes the fraction very difficult to work with. It's much easier to have a real number on the bottom. So to get rid of this, we have to multiply the fraction by 1. But 1 is the same as any number divided by itself. For example, root 3 divided by root 3 still equals 1. So what we do is we take this 1 over root 3 and we multiply it by root 3 over root 3. So it's technically still multiplying this fraction by 1, which means the value of the fraction hasn't changed, just the way in which it's expressed. So this gets us to root 3 over 3. Times the top together, times the bottom together, and this is what you get. This may not seem helpful for these simpler fractions, but it's incredibly useful when we get to slightly more complex ones. So the one we're going to look at is 1 over 3 plus root 2. Now the temptation here is to multiply by 3 plus root 2 over 3 plus root 2, because that's what we did up here. Whatever was on the denominator, we multiplied by. Now let's just follow this through and see what happens. We get 3 plus root 2 on the top, and the bottom you treat like two sets of brackets and you use the FOIL method. So my first two get me 9, my outsides are 3 root 2, my insides are 3 root 2, and my lasts are just 2, which gets the fraction as 3 plus root 2 over 11 plus 6 root 2. Now as you can see, this has not had the desired effect of removing the surd from the bottom. There's still a root 2 in the denominator of this fraction. So if you come across a fraction with a surd in the denominator that has another term in the denominator, you have to change what you multiply by and not use the exact same thing. So let me rewrite this out, 1 over 3 plus root 2. What we're going to create is a dot situation, a difference of two squares. Anyone who's seen my earlier video, I've already explained this concept. What you do is you reverse the sign in between these two terms. So you actually multiply by 3 minus root 2 over 3 minus root 2. Again, it's the top and the bottom are the same, so the fraction equals 1. We're just going to change how this is expressed. Now if I carry this on, the numerator becomes 3 minus root 2. Using dots on my denominators, I get 9 plus 3 root 2 minus 3 root 2 minus 2, which gets me 3 minus root 2 over 7, which is much simpler and easier to work with than this. I'm going to do one more example with you before I set you a practice question, and that is to rationalise root 5 plus root 2 over root 5 minus root 2. Now, as before, we have to multiply by a fraction. We have two terms here, which means that this sign has to change. So our fraction is root 5 plus root 2 over root 5 plus root 2. Using FOIL on my numerator, I get 5 plus root 5 root 2 plus root 5 root 2 plus 2. And my denominator becomes 5 plus root 5 root 2 minus root 5 root 2 minus 2, which gets me 7 plus 2 lots of root 5 root 2 over 3. Now I'm just going to take this over to the side here for a minute. 2 lots of root 5 times root 2. As we said, one of the surds rules is that if you're multiplying, that is the same as 2 lots of root 10, which means this fraction is equal to 7 plus 2 root 10 over 3. As you can see, I've taken a fraction that had 4 surds in it and combined it to a fraction with just 1 surd. Now you've seen that, I've got a practice question for you all to try. Have a go at 1 divided by 1 minus the square root of 3 all squared. Pause the video now and have a go. I hope you got your answer. The correct answer to this question is 2 plus root 3 over 2. Congratulations if you got that. That's the end of this video. Please comment down below if you have any ideas and don't forget to subscribe.